Hello, everybody, and welcome to the May 9th, 2018 edition of the Ephrom Josine Show. I am your host, Ephrom Josine. Now, the last few days, we've been covering kind of heavy topics. Traitors getting parts in major lobbying groups and the party that currently controls our government. Donald Trump bringing the United States closer to nuclear war. I figured, why not just have a nice, easy day today and mock some pundits? I know it's not really the professional thing to do to just give up on news for a day, but can you blame me? It's been a hard week. Okay, so our first topic is a guy named Gavin McInnes. If you do not know him, I think he's the founder of Rebel Media, and he currently hosts a show on CRTV. It's the same network Steven Crowder goes on, called Get Off My Lawn. Now, recently he had a guy named Stephen Herod, on his show, and he works with Catholic Votes, which you do not know is this far-right, religious right, a group, and they talked about gay marriage, because of course they did. 3 years since it became legal nationwide, they're still angry about it. Gavin's comments are great, by the way. Here's what he had to say. The left tricked us with gay marriage. Well, yes, we did, Gavin. Somehow. They tricked me. Dun, dun, dun. I was for it, and I thought it was just about two people who want to get married. And I thought, straights aren't very good at being married. Let's let someone else give it a whirl. Okay. That may actually be a more radical left view than a lot of actual leftists hold. But okay. I'm not even going to get into that one. In case you're wondering, by the way, Gavin is married. Just imagine him going on air. Oh, God, my marriage sucks. But I don't want those gay people to do it either. At least they are trying to normalize themselves and assimilate. But it turns out it was just trying to de-justify Catholicism and Christianity in general. We got dumped by liars, by propagandists. Okay, Gavin, let me explain this again. Your religion dictates what you can do, not what other people can do. That would be a theocracy, not a democracy. Here's the thing, and you don't want it to be a theocracy, because then, how do you know it's going to be a Catholic theocracy? Maybe it's going to be a different branch of Christianity. Maybe it's going to be a Muslim theocracy. Those are common. Here's some more. Gay marriage was a trick. He's really obsessed with this trick idea. It's a tool to tell people to bake cakes. No, that was the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Laws are based on morality. Citation needed. So if it's illegal for a Catholic to refuse a ceremony, you are saying that Catholicism is immoral. No, we're saying refusing a ceremony is immoral, assuming that's even how laws worked. It still isn't. And that was really the goal of gay marriage. Discredit Christianity. Amazing. Just amazing. Now let's move on to someone who's kind of a friend of the show. Matt Walsh, Daily Wire writer and just overall interesting guy. Now, some people may be thinking at this point, and I cover Matt Walsh like all the time, like every time he writes an article. I don't. That's the great part. I don't cover like every single thing he writes. I only cover the things that are actually where he sort of just goes above and beyond. And the thing is with Matt Walsh is he does that all the time. Now, if you do not know, Matt Walsh is a hardcore pro-lifer. He wrote an article. Now, we've covered his pro-life stance before, but essentially, the way Matt Walsh works is you take any ridiculous conservative Christian stance, and he takes it to the extreme times 10. Against gay marriage, Matt Walsh is. Pro-life, obviously Matt Walsh is. Against transgenderism, Matt Walsh is. Thinks this weird war on boys nonsense. That was the first episode of the show where I was talking about that. Here's his latest piece: How to Thoroughly Dismantle the Bodily Autonomy Pro-Abortion Argument. He keeps using that term, by the way, pro-abortion. No one is pro-abortion. No one has like a happy coat hanger dance. We are pro women being able to choose whether or not they get an abortion. He finds 5 different ways his argument is why he thinks ridiculous, and let's just look at them. Number 1, first we must cover the most obvious base: it's not your body. Call the baby, use that term baby, by the way, whatever you want to call him: fetus, clump of cells, zygote. All 3 of those are medically accurate. One of those is accurate during the entire pregnancy, by the way. But you cannot call him your body. Whatever he certainly is an entirely separate and distinct entity. His body is the body at issue here. Well, Matt, you know what else is a separate and distinct entity? Bacteria, viruses, all of that. So if you're going to argue this pro-life, we can't kill anything, kill in giant quotation marks position, then never take a shower. Never wash your hands. Never participate in any sort of hygiene. Ever. Because you're committing genocide then. Here's another one. Abortion is not merely the act of detaching yourself from the baby. It is not a simple unplugging. Abortion is the direct, purposeful, active killing of a human life. Again, I go back to my bacteria example. And this is really just an appeal to emotion fallacy, by the way, with how he words things. You ever notice that? He, words things in the most overdramatic way humanly possible. It's killing. Ugh. Okay, number 3. This is where it starts to get interesting. Bodily autonomy arguments completely disregard the relationship of the people involved. The glaring hole in the attached to a stranger in the hospital bed analogy, that's an analogy someone once sent to him, is that your child is not a stranger. Abortion presupposes that the mother has no social responsibility to her child whatsoever. Well, Matt, I'm going to quote someone else when I say this, but you see, rights do not exist in a positive context. You don't have the right to anything, essentially. Rights only exist in the negative context, as in you have the right to not do things. You have the right to not be messed with. For instance, if, say, somebody is growing inside of you, and you don't like that, they have no right to continue being inside of you. And by the way, when I said I was quoting someone with the whole positive versus negative rights thing, I was quoting your boss, Ben Shapiro, who is also a gigantic pro-lifer, even though it completely flies in the face of the idea of positive versus negative rights that he loves preaching when it comes to universal health care. But that's a topic for another day. And this is the thing I find funny about Matt. I'm going to get into this a little bit later in the article. But he sort of goes back and forth because he has these extremely conservative values. But he defends them in a way that's almost Marxist. He uses these, no, you have these responsibilities just by existing, and everybody owes you this just by existing, is one example. And it gets a little bit worse as we go on. Number 4 is probably my favorite. It's pregnancy is natural. Now, here we learn Matt's true lack of an ability to understand context. I don't know if it's intellectual dishonesty or just stupidity. With knowing it's Matt, I think it's just stupidity. But this is... I think it's a little both. Maybe it's stupidity in the sense he thought he could get away with being this intellectually dishonest. Who knows? But let's just see what he has to say. Pro-aborters will say that pregnancy, when it occurs without consent, is a violation of the mother's rights. Now notice he never uses the word rape, which is what people like me mean when they say pregnancy without consent, which we don't say, by the way. We just say rape. Who then is violating her? The person who got her pregnant, idiot. I suppose the guilty party must be the baby. It gets better. Yet the baby is simply following the natural order of things. Google Nuremberg. Just, Matt, Google what the Nuremberg trials are and the precedents it set to see how much I care about your natural order of things argument. But then this gets better. This gets better. And by the way, I'm cutting out huge chunks of this article because it's just, my God. You might argue that cancer is also natural in a sense, but cancer is a corruption of nature. It is nature gone wrong. That's just untrue. Well, okay, you're not entirely wrong there, Matt. I'll give you that. However, you're twisting the word natural. Natural does not just mean it occurs the majority of time in nature. It means it occurs at all in nature. Okay? If we go by that logic, then I think men would actually be considered unnatural because you have a slightly greater chance. It's like 50.7 of being born female. So if we're going to use your majority argument, then sorry, Matt Walsh, guess you're unnatural because you're a man. And number 5, and this is what I mean when I say Matt sometimes uses these kind of Marxist-like attitudes in it. Bodily autonomy does not exist. It really boils down to this. We are not autonomous creatures. We are not sovereign. To argue that man is autonomous and sovereign is to argue that he has no responsibilities to his fellow man at all. But wait, I thought the whole idea of conservatism and of small government was that I don't have responsibilities to my fellow man. It was that I don't owe them anything just for existing. Guess that's not the case. Guess I do owe them something, but only my body, or well, I'm not a woman, but only if I were a woman, my body for a good 9 months. Of course. Anyway, that's it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.